Okay, so for this one, I'm going to make a table of values. So you could do it on a calculator, you could do it by hand. It doesn't really matter. Now, a general rule of thumb is to make some small numbers, get some negative numbers in there and get some positive numbers in there. So I'm going to do like negative 2, negative 1, 0, 1, and 2. So now to evaluate this, if I say f of negative 2, then that means I'm going to plug in negative 2 wherever there's an x. So now how do I make that a positive exponent? Anybody remember? Okay, take 10 seconds and talk amongst your group. Somebody in your group knows how to make that a positive exponent. Go. Okay, somebody raise your hand and tell me how I make that a positive exponent. Anyone? How do I make this negative 2 positive? That's the property of exponents. Can I do this? Put it in the bottom of a fraction? Now, if you didn't know off the top of your head how to do that, just look at yesterday's notes. That's what we did on yesterday's notes, right? In our example, we had this negative 1. We made it positive by putting it on the bottom of the fraction, right? So, I mean, you're not a math teacher, and I'm showing some of this stuff, and you've learned some of this stuff, and maybe you've forgotten some of this stuff. That's why we write all this stuff down, okay? So don't just get stuck and think, well, I don't know how to do it, and just, just flip a couple pages back and look for an example where you've done that. By the way, what's 4 squared? 16. Okay. Now, you may not have done the negative 2, but that's all right. So now to do the next one, when f is evaluated at, and what I'm doing is I'm thinking of this as a function, like f of x is equal to 4 to the x. Remember, whatever I write down, you guys need to be writing down so you can have the same stuff. So this would be 4 to the negative 1. Now, how do I make that a positive power of 1? Same thing, toss it on the bottom. 4 to the 1, bless you. Well, that's just 1 over 4, right? Then, if I say f evaluated at 0, or f of 0, then I have 4 raised to the 0 power, which is what? 1. Then if I say 4 evaluated at positive 1, I'm just going to have 4 raised to the first power, which is just 4. And then if I say 4 evaluated at 2, or 4, f, I can't talk, f of 2, first class of the day, then what's 4 squared? 16. Now, how many of you guys got some of those numbers? Because I let you arbitrarily choose which values for x you plug in. So now each one of these is a point on the graph, right? X, comma, y. So I'm going to go to negative 2, and it's like 1 over 16. So it's pretty close. Ah, I see what the issue is. Oh, it won't let me. Oh, that's interesting. When I go to make a... Huh. So that's the point negative 2, comma, 1 over 16. Then negative 1 is at about a fourth, which is about right there. This is going to be frustrating. Okay, so that point is negative 1 comma 1/4. Then I have 0 comma 1, which is right here. That's 0 comma 1, right? Then I go 1 comma 4. That's right there. 1 comma 4. Then I have 2 comma 16. So 16 is like way up here. So then my graph is going to kind of do one of these things. Now, you see the pattern, and you could plug more numbers in, but if you weren't sure, what could you do? Well, you could look at the parent function. Well, when did you guys write the parent function down? You wrote the parent function down yesterday, so if you're not sure what the graph looks like or where to draw the line over here, just look at your notes from yesterday. Now, I realize you've only seen one example, so that makes sense that you might not know off the top of your head, but that's why we write things down. So I know, and what else could I do to double check this? There's one last thing we haven't done yet. Graph it in your calculator. So you can go into your calculator and hit clear. So why don't you guys grab a calculator real quick, hit y equals, and type in 4 raised to the x. I'll leave that up there for a second. Go ahead and type that in your calculator real quick. If you don't have a calculator, get one. I want everybody grabbing a calculator and practicing. So what I'd like for you guys to do, ready, 1, 2, 3, no go, or no goes. Okay. Whoever lost, you need to lead the discussion on how and where you find the word table on the calculator. Go. Where's the word table on the calculator? Just talk to your group first. All right. So real quick, I'm gonna point to the group, and one person from the group can tell me, where did you guys find it? Okay, they're saying second graph. Where did you guys find it? Second graph. That group right there, where did you guys find it? So the word right above graph says table. So what do you think happens when I hit second graph? Do my numbers match the numbers? Yeah. 1, 4, 16. This is 1/4. This is 1/16. Well, that's good. Let's put that. Well, you should already have this written down if you have it written down in your thing. But I'm going to just do this. Okay? I like to put that in there so I can make sure that I have the right answer. So that's verified on my calculator that it's right. All right, now how do I verify the graph? What do I do? How do I verify the graph to make sure I'm going to graph it right? What the graph will look like? Talk to your group real quick. How do you verify the graph? You guys got to start talking. Okay, does somebody have an idea of what we should do? Raise your hand. Anyone? Okay, I'm going to randomly pick a group. This group. What do you think we should do to verify that we're going to graph it correctly? Your guys' group. Okay, 1, 2, 3, nose goes. Whoever lost, you got to lead the conversation within your group. How do you double check the graph? Okay, this group right here, what did you guys discuss? Yeah, we're just going to hit graph on the calculator. We already have it plugged in, right? That wasn't that hard. So now what? My graph should look like this. Okay, so let's go ahead and try that. If I plot the points, there's two things. In our notes from yesterday, it said that this will never cross 0. It'll get really close, but it'll never cross 0. And I'm going to kind of pretend that I'm going towards this thing. Does that look like my graph on my calculator? Yep. So because I double checked it in the graph, or on my graphing calculator, and I did the numbers and everything seems to match up, then I know I did the problem right. Now that's not, if you have a test where you only have 5 questions, hint, 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 and I say write a table of values and graph it, you should be able to do this if you just follow this procedure, right? So let's just, let's insert that picture. Now I have one more question for you. 1, 2, 3, nose goes. This is what you're going to lead the discussion on. What pattern do you see in our table of values? So in your table of values, there's a pattern. Discuss that. Go. You're going to sit right here. Right there. Thank you. Okay, I'll give you a clue. It has to do with the y values. So look at the y values and see if there's a pattern. Try to figure out what that pattern is. Keep talking them in your group. Okay, I'll give you a couple more seconds, then bring your conversations to a natural close. This group over here, what did you guys discuss?
That if you multiply one of the y values by 4, then that's the 1/16.
Very good. So 1/16 times 4 gives you 1/4. 1/4 times 4 gives you 1. 1 times 4 gives you 4. 4 times 4 gives you 16. Now, if you were to guess, what do you think this next one would be? Well, this next one would be 16 times 4. So that would be 32. Or not 32, 64. Okay? By the way, what's our base? Our base is 4. Remember, these are written in the form y equals a b raised to the x, right? Well, in this scenario, a is equal to 1. We don't need to write the 1 down, but b is equal to 4. And you may not know this off the top of your head, but you're going to write it down in your notes right now. This is the growth factor of 4. So when they say growth factor of 4, you're quadrupling from this value to this value, quadrupling. We're multiplying by 4. That's why they say a growth factor of 4. Whatever your b value is, that's your growth factor. And also, it's called a growth factor because b is greater than 1. Does that make sense? Good stuff.